Yeah. Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man Saul Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, here as always with my guy Brandon, and it is Philly the podcast. Now, I messed up the first time, and I have to say this twice, and it hurts the second time probably even more. This is not about the Eagles. This is about Washington football team. We are on to number 19, pick number 19. So I went and got someone that knows his team. Went and got my guy George Carmi. How's it going, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Definitely. So now, before we get into the actual football talk, again, tell these guys where they can find you, where they can support you.
So my name is George Carmi, C-A-R-M-I. You can find me at GCarmi21 on Twitter. I'm always on there all day long. I love it, man. It's so much fun, sports talking all day long. I write for Full Press Coverage Washington, which is a smaller webpage. We have a group of 7 guys that just talk about sports all day long, working hard. And you can also find some of my older articles at SI.com.
Definitely, yeah. So now I'm going to keep on looking up and making sure we're recording. But let's get into some football talk, man. So Washington, before the season, I think everybody would have probably pinned Washington as having a crazy season. You know, it was a crazy season for you guys. Mm-hmm. But you guys had a pretty good season, you know. Mm-hmm. So can you kind of take me through the emotion of the season, you know, how you felt about it?
Man, it became a long way. I mean, I've been a Washington fan for over 30 years, man. I'm 35 and watching this game, watching my whole life. And coming in the summertime, I was like, this is rock bottom, man. We lost our name. Our coach had cancer. Our cheerleaders were calling us out. It was like the worst thing that could possibly happen to our team. And like, dude, I was like, I'm in the DMV. So, we have people from Philly, New York, all around here, right? And people, they wouldn't even bully us anymore. Like, dude, we feel bad. They felt bad for us for a while. So it's like, you know what? We kind of took a lumps and we're it was definitely hurting, but we came around. Alex Smith was like a special surprise for us this year. He kind of came back. We never thought that was going to happen, and he kind of turned everything around for us. And our defense really showed out. Chase Young was a real deal, and by the end of the year, we were 7-9, and unbelievably, we got into the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. But I'm happy to be there. So it was good for us, man. Good year altogether.
Right, and kind of. What is the emotion of a fan when your team? Because I feel like you guys might be the only ones to pretty much go through this whole scenario of not having a name. Where when the Eagles lose that first week, we're getting told you guys lost to a team with no name.
I know, it's crazy.
How is that as a fan, as a writer for the team? Just that, all right, this year we're just calling ourselves football team.
Dude, as a writer for the team or as a podcaster for the team, it's so hard to be like, the football team player did this. It's so weird to kind of type that out and write that out. It's weird altogether. So it's awkward. It's hard to say. It's hard to get out. As a fan base, it was kind of interesting. I think the cool thing about it, I don't know if you guys have your tabs on it, but Jason Wright is the president of the Washington football team. He's advocating and asking us fans for our feedback on the names, which is pretty cool. It's actually, we're voting on it, a webpage about it. There's a webpage called WashingtonJourney.com if you guys are interested, like top names and stuff like that. And a lot of good content creators online are like making cool designs and jerseys. And we're kind of talking about it and discussing that. So there are some diehards. I'm a diehard, but like there's some diehards like Redskins forever. I'm never going to give it up. It's like crazy like that. I'm like, dude, like I get it. Like, I don't know if you guys ever been to Maryland. Maryland's pretty a liberal state. And people were definitely like, yo, Redskins, it's offensive. You can't say that out loud. People were kind of, there was a glass ceiling, so how much people would actually support it. So for me, I kind of like the fact that we're changing. It's new era, the last 20 years is kind of rough for us anyways. Have a clean slate, move ahead. So, bumps, a roller coaster.
That's pretty cool. Now, you said the whole, fan engagement is what I got from them doing all the, logos and stuff like that. We actually had one of the people that worked as one of the producers with the whole Nickelodeon playoffs. Cool. So it's crazy how I feel the NFL is switching. Like, I feel like fans are getting more involved. They're trying to involve, and that's really cool, to be honest. Like, if we could change the Eagles name, I don't think we would, but if we had to do that, that would be pretty cool. So let's talk a little bit about Ron Rivera, man. I'm a huge fan. I'm Puerto Rican,
full disclosure. So, you know, what he's done for Puerto Rican coaches is amazing. So I'm a huge fan of him. Hate to say it, but how do you feel about him? Like, I mean, I think he's turned your culture around like tremendously. So how is the, you know, perspective of you from him?
We love him. We really do. Like over in DC, we just had Jay Gruden. I don't know if you guys followed him at all. He kind of went out like a crash and burn. You know, fired at 0-6. There are pictures of him like hooking up with like 18-year-olds and like smoking cigarettes and doing all sorts of wild stuff. We're like, you know what? He just totally ran us out of the building. And I was like, dude, Ron Rivera is bringing like credibility, bringing stability, changing the culture around. And it's just like, you know, I've been, you know, NFC East, we can be real with each other, man. I was like, dude, we were like a laughingstock for a while. We didn't have any respect. And it was like, you know what? Now we are starting to gather a little bit. It was like between Ron Rivera's cancer and overcoming that, like that really, like it endeared him to the fan base. We love him because of that. Like it's actually really cool. One of us has started a campaign to raise money for him. And I don't know if I can cuss on this podcast. Cool. All right. Basically, they're like, Ron Rivera, his famous saying is he kicked cancer's ass, is basically what he said, right? So what the fan base did is we all pitched in money. He doesn't even know this yet. We actually bought boxing gloves that are red. We have a DC artist who just does all sorts of cool DC sports stuff. They're painting it white. They're doing a Ron Rivera, like Chase Young on the front. And it's like kicking cancer's ass. We're framing it and giving it to him. We love Ron Rivera. So it's pretty cool, man. So, you know, that's basically awesome. Yeah, man. So between Ron Rivera and Alex Smith and like getting a GM finally, it's like we came from like, dude, like Mickey Mouse organization to kind of become stable, dude. So I'm happy where we're going. It's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, Jay Gruden was something else. Now I want to bring it to, you know, a little bit of present day. I want to talk a little bit about your quarterbacks, because at this point right now, there's I can say about 15 names, I feel like, but the three names I want to bring up is Alex Smith. You know, he had a great year, and then you switched to Fitzpatrick, and then there's rumors about Sam Darnold. So can you just kind of talk to me about, you know, signing Fitzpatrick, what you think that means, and the rumors of Sam Darnold, and kind of where you stand on that?
All right, cool. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm happy with it. He's kind of polarizing in our fan base. Like yesterday, you know, I think it was 2 days ago actually now, like past midnight, exploded on Twitter. People were like, dude, what is going on? Some people loved it. Some people are like, it's just a stopgap. Like, why are we doing this? Like, you know, why don't we pursue Mariota or Winston, because he was a free agent at the time, and other things like that. And personally, I don't mind Fitzpatrick. We had Alex Smith, as you mentioned before. And the problem with him is he was a stable leader, but like he was stereotypical. He was a check down game manager. He was, you know, taking the ball, you know, 5 yard and in, basically kind of checking it down over there. It was good. He kind of prevented, you know, turnovers. But at the same time, this last year, he didn't prevent turnovers. He was, if you actually look it up, I think he was like 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a couple fumbles. And, you know, he was more respected for his leadership as opposed to his play. So I think Fitzpatrick is the anti-Alex Smith. He's like turnover machine, throws a ball freaking downfield. Like this is going to be gunslinging. But I think at the same time, we're kind of excited for that because our defense is pretty good. So if we're like, if our defense can keep us in the games, and this guy just doesn't blow up and explode, we actually can like compete. You know, like over the past couple of years with Alex Smith and with like we had like Mark Sanchez and Josh Johnson, all sorts of wild stuff. And it was like if we were down by 10. The game was over. You know, that's kind of how it was in Washington. But now with Fitzpatrick, we can come back into it. So we are excited. Some people are mad. They want to trade up in the draft and get Justin Fields or something like that. But I'm not mad at it. And then finally, his contract is only $10 million. So like sitting on the bench as a backup, that doesn't matter, right? If we draft a quarterback, number 10, you know, whatever, 19, have him at $10 million sit on the bench, doesn't matter. We can trade for Darnold if we wanted to. Well, personally, I don't want Darnold. I know I don't know how you guys are closer to New York or something, but dude, Darnold's he's trash to me, man. I don't know how y'all feel, but he basically, he's like, he has a good arm. He's talented, but at the same time, it's like he turns the ball over too much, and he just like his selling point is that he basically will leave Adam Gase, and he hasn't been surrounded with good talent. Now, that's what people are selling right now. It's not like, he had flashes or he's performed well. Like his on the field performance doesn't justify a second round pick or a first round pick that they're trying to do with trade talks. And between the trade and the fact that he has that 5th year option for $20 million, like, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with that. If you trade for Sam Darnold, you have to pay him $20 million next year. And dude, I'm not paying Sam Darnold $20 million. So that's why I'm out. So yeah.
And to keep it on the quarterbacks, we do have to talk a little bit about Dwayne Haskins.
Jeez.
What, like, if you're talking about Drake Griffin going from like here down to the gutter, it was basically the same thing happened with Haskins.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Haskins.
He went from here to the strip club, though. It's
right to the
How that
100%.
You guys think you have a future quarterback in the first round, and now he's not even on the team anymore?
That killed us, to be honest with you. I don't know how much you guys keep abreast of what we do around here, but two big whiffs for us. It was Dwayne Haskins and Darius Geis were the two big whiffs for us. And basically, that's an awesome running back, supposedly a first-round running back, and a first-round quarterback. We basically missed out on both of those. Haskins was a wild ride. He was a known project. They drafted him at Ohio State. He wasn't ready. He should have sat for a year. I don't know if you guys are following up in Philly, but basically there was pressure by Dan Snyder to play him. The connection was he went to a Potomac private school where Dan Snyder's son went, and basically Dan Snyder just loved him. And Dan Snyder basically was like, I'm drafting him over what you guys say. I don't know if you guys know that story. That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
You guys didn't know that? Okay, so Dwayne Haskins was not supposed to be the first round selection. It was supposed to be Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat was supposed to be 15 in the first round. And basically what happened was Dan Snyder walks in. He's like, I want Dwayne Haskins. And like our personnel guy, Kyle Smith, is like, dude, hell no. Like he's not ready for it, right? And Dan Snyder's like, I write the checks, do it. Dan Snyder freaking had him draft Dwayne Haskins. And that's why we traded back into the first round from second round to first to get Montez Sweat. That's why we got him eventually, to try to like balance out the heat that was going up in the front office. So we got Haskins. I liked him. I was pumped when I got him. I was like, dude, we got Dwayne Haskins. This is great. Good NFL arm, can throw the ball anywhere, fit it in. But he was immature. He didn't, like, the rumors that we're catching from DC is that he didn't put his hours in. Like he basically would come in late, he would leave early. Like, he would put in his hours, but like just the basics, right? He would be like, 9 to 3. Some quarterbacks are 9 to 10. They're all day long, they're all the time. And one like telling stat was like all NFL players have like iPads and they clock hours of like video watching. And Dwayne Haskins had one of the lowest in the team. Like he didn't put in the time for watching film. And Ron Rivera's like, dude, like that's not the culture that I want to build. Like I basically, I want a quarterback that punches clock. He worked, lunch pail kind of guy. What's going on? And basically Dwayne Haskins just wasn't that. And we kind of like played it like Haskins had to play, I believe it was against Carolina. It was like, Alex Smith was hurt. They had to put Dwayne Haskins in. He just imploded. I don't know if you guys caught that game. Like 1 touchdown, 3 picks, like 50 yards passing. It was like awful. Like it was like ridiculous. And like I think we fired him later. I think he went to the strip club. It was like the game was. I think the game was Sunday, and he went to the strip club that night. Like, dude, what are you doing? And they basically fired. Like, I got rid of him. Like how do you do that? How do you like just totally throw the game and go to the strip club right afterwards? So that's why they got rid of him. So wild ride. It's disappointing, but the Steelers are a good fit for him. He plays like Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know if you guys ever watch Haskins, but he's like a Byron Leftwich, kind of like bulkier, kind of not as he's a functional mobility, but not fast. He has a rocket arm, so if you had Big Ben, he'll be okay. So best of luck to him.
Yeah, I like the kid. I mean, it's sad because I feel like once you get to the NFL, me and Brandon talk about this all the time. Once you get to the NFL, everybody has talent. It's about who works harder, who's put in the right system. It's all about that type of stuff. So he didn't take his shot. It is what it is. We'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. Hope him all the best. But now let's go to something that you probably will be proud to talk about. Your defense is pretty darn good. We all know that. Now I want to talk about somebody you guys just added. You guys got William Jackson out of the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, the cornerback. Yep. Probably the best cornerback in the market. What are your initial thoughts on that?
We're pumped about it. So you guys know about Ronald Darby, right? So we had Ronald Darby. He came over to us last year. He was kind of a reclamation project. We were kind of worried, like, he's always injured. He has that potential, but, maybe he'll do well. Ronald Darby showed out last year, did pretty well. I think he led the NFL, 15 pass breakups. He was, 74. I think like he's in the 70s for PFF rating for pass coverage. He did pretty well. But then I think going back to negotiations, like we wanted him, he wanted to be here, but we weren't going to pay $10 million a year. So he signed with the Broncos. He went over there, which is great. If you think about like roster building, we took a reclamation project, we built him up, he took a big contract. So hopefully we'll get a compensatory pick next year. That's kind of the ideal goal, So see how that goes. In comes William Jackson. I didn't see that coming at all. Like, we catch rumors here or there and, texts going around. Didn't know that. I didn't know that was coming at all. So pumped about it. He's a 4-3 guy. He's a press cover guy. I think he'll do very well because Kendall Fuller is a good, like, Kendall Fuller is like a B plus kind of cornerback. So now we have two B pluses, A cornerbacks. He's bringing right there, and with a nice pass rush, and we predominantly play zone defense anyway. So, dude, like, unleash the dogs, go after them, blitz them, throw up a prayer, and hopefully we get a pick, man. Well, William Jackson's a 4-3 guy, take him to the house. So I'm happy with it. I'm really pumped. That was a pleasant surprise. I was really happy with that.
I'm not looking forward to playing them.
Yeah. The biggest thing is like your defensive line, right? Yeah. Your defensive line is crazy with talent. And so talk to me a little bit about your defensive line and your thoughts on maybe Chase Young saying, we want Brady. We want Brady.
All right. Cool. So I love our defensive line, man. It's awesome. All of them, man. So for a couple of years, I think for 4 straight years, we drafted defensive linemen in the first round. And all of us were like, dude, what in the hell is it? Like, why? We need offensive talent. Like, what's going on, right? But it was like, it just paid off. Like Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, they don't get a lot of clout. Matthew Ioannidis is awesome too. He's like a reserve defensive tackle. I love those guys. It was like Daron Payne is a beast. He's just like from Alabama. He was known to be a kind of a run stopper, kind of like, clogging the lanes kind of guy at Alabama. But with Jack Del Rio, we went from a 2-gap to a 1-gap system. So instead of being responsible for kind of clogging the gaps and letting the linebackers do the work, they're just doing a 1-gap. Like, you have the A-gap, punch through it. You just cause havoc, right? And Daron Payne is the monster. So he just does that, right? So he did a very good job. Him and Jonathan Allen, I love them both. Jonathan Allen's like, he's a building block. Like we just signed him to a 5th-year contract. He's going to be like forever a Washington football player. We're going to give him like a, whatever he wants. He's awesome. I love that guy. And then we have Chase Young and Montez Sweat. It's like Chase Young, everyone knows about Chase Young. But then honestly, Montez Sweat had a better year. Like Montez Sweat kind of got robbed from the Pro Bowl. And it's like, dude, I'm so happy because for years, Washington always had like a 3-4 defense. So we always got like bulkier defensive ends. It's always like Ryan Kerrigan or Brian Arakpo or, what's his name? Pernell McPhee or whatever. They were like big, like, and Trent Murphy. Those guys are like hybrids, like, defensive tackle ends. They weren't explosive. So now we actually have like athletic. We went to a 4-3. Now we have defensive ends that put their hands in the ground and to run after the quarterback. And it's fun. It's just cool, man. It's just fun to watch. Montez Sweat, just chaos. He's like Julius Peppers. He's just huge, got long arms, calls the interceptions, and I'm happy with it. And then finally, your Chase Young question and Brady, dude, I love that, dude. Why not, dude? Like people, like I know it's young. He's 22, 23, just running his mouth. It happens, but at the same time, like he was known for like being like our firecracker and our team, and that's awesome. Like I'm sure you guys grew up watching Ray Lewis and stuff like that. Like he is that to our team. Like if you ever watched Washington play, he's running down the sidelines, he's like smacking people's butts. He's like, he's just pumped up. He's like, he brings that to our team. And it's like, dude, that's awesome. Like, not only is he a good player, but he's a good teammate. He's on the field. Like, I'll take that. So, if you put that number 2 overall pick on your chest, you want that smoke, that's what he wants. So I'm happy with it.
Definitely. Yeah. A lot of people were kind of giving our players a little bit of flack, like our wide receivers, because they were on Twitter talking a little bit of mess, and maybe we don't have the best pedestal to be talking off of. But at the end of the day, it's your bed. If you're down to make that bed, go lie in it. Go ahead, man. I'm all about it. Like you said, bring that smoke. It just makes it more interesting when the season does come. So let's switch gears a little bit to draft now. Like I want you to kind of go over the needs of your team. I mean, defense, I think you guys are kind of stacked, but overall, what are the kind of goals from this draft, and what positions are you trying to fill?
So I guess just touching on defense a tiny bit, if there is a hole in our defense, it would be linebacker or safety. It's kind of like our 2 gaps that we have there. So that's definitely on the radar. We definitely need that talent influx on offense. We are lacking. Like Antonio Gibson is great. I don't know if you guys have really watched him, but he's definitely explosive. Yeah. I think he had 11 touchdowns last year. He was kind of like he is a Curtis Samuel. Like he's like a guy where you can flex about as a wide receiver or as a running back. I like him a lot. But besides that, like Logan Thomas, pretty good tight end, kind of came out of nowhere. No wide receivers. McLaurin's awesome, but we need another 2. Our slot's tough. We don't have another another boundary wide receiver. We need one more. So it's kind of looking at that. Also offensive left tackle, like big thing. I'm sure you guys know it hurts for me. Trent Williams, man, that was hard having him go. He's one of the best in the league. He's on 49 now. It's on like a $130 million deal today or something like that. So that's definitely a gap for us too. So Cornelius Lucas is starting for us, a left tackle journeyman. I think he came from the Falcons. He is a pretty solid left tackle, but I don't think he's a long-term solution. So that's a need. Wide receiver is definitely a need. Quarterback is a need. And then I'd say linebacker and safety are our big needs.
And so I don't know the Washington football team cap situation. I know you guys just picked up a corner, but is there anyone else on the free agent market that you're kind of hoping Washington can go ahead and snag with the money you guys have?
So that's actually interesting. Washington has a lot of money. I don't know if you guys caught that either. We walked into the free agency with $40 million. We had $40 million in cap space. Okay. And basically, it's good and bad. We basically have money to spend, but at the same time, we have to roll some over the next year because of Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen and Terry McLaurin. We have to pay all those guys in the future. So we kind of have to kind of tread on thin ice. Like, are we going to try to go all in for next year? Or are we trying to build for 5 years? We have to kind of weigh that out. We have about $25 million left after Fitzpatrick and Jackson. The big rumor, hopefully by the time I get off this podcast with you guys, is Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel coming to DC, reuniting with Ron Rivera and coming with Scott Turner again. We're looking at Galladay, but I hear the Giants have the inside track on that. So, I kind of want a wide receiver. And then finally, Trey Boston, from the free safety from the Panthers. I'd be interested in that too. So. And then some people are talking about Simmons for the Vikings. I forget it's Justin Simmons, I think, or what? The free safety, whatever the free safety for the Vikings are. People are talking about it too. So I don't know. Look at those. Maybe one more nice pick. That's about it before it's over.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. Hey, I'm hoping you guys don't get anything you need. If I'm being honest,
I'm sure.
I'm hoping the Giants don't get Galladay. When the defensive tackle, and of course I'm going to forget his name now. The defensive tackle that just signed that the Giants were trying. Tomlinson. When he didn't go to the Cowboys or the Giants, I did my happy dance. So it is what it is. But so I want to ask you 2 more questions before we get to the actual pick. Now, cool. This question I want to ask you is basically we've had a lot of people. Everybody, I should really say, everybody's either wanted to trade back or trade up, mostly trade back. At number 19, it's not really the prime position to really trade back, but how do you feel, especially with the need of quarterback, how would you feel about your team moving up in the draft?
I'd be pumped about it, man. That was my number 1 option, to be honest with you. Being on Twitter and all these conversations, my ideal scenario was push it in. Why don't we have a young defense? Our defense is 25 and below. We're actually going to be, if we can pay them, we have a pretty good core for a while. So the thing in DC is why don't we get a quarterback? And it's kind of that whole Russell Wilson Seattle model is kind of have that defense, have that quarterback, and let it ride for a while. So for me, I was trade up. I like Justin Fields. I know he's kind of polarizing. People don't like him. Ohio State quarterbacks that never pan out. People always say judge the player, not the jersey. Dude, he's a good player. He's pretty well rounded. He's a good accuracy. He's mobile, and I think I value mobility a lot. I think we're trending towards Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson type quarterbacks in the future. I think if you are a Jordan Haskins, that's always his glass ceiling. If you can't move, then that limits you. Why? If you had the option, then why would you get a stolen quarterback in this? So I like Justin Fields. Trey Lance is awesome. DC, people in DC aren't patient. I don't know. I'm sure Philly is not patient at all either. But basically, if we got Trey Lance, my only fear with him is if he came to our team, it would be why isn't he starting week 1, week 2, week 3? And he's not ready for that. He needs to sit for an entire year. So I would have traded up ideally. I would have gone up to get Justin Fields. I don't mind spending a couple first-round picks on him. A lot of people are talking about, my friends I talk to, trading back. They're we want a linebacker. We could possibly trade back, get Zaven Collins, or we can get Nick Bolton, or we can get what's the other one? There's a couple linebackers. Just go back a little bit and basically snag them in the 30s or the 20s or something like that. So, maybe pick up another pick. But, I guess we're staying pat at 19 in this draft. So we'll see how it goes.
I will say one thing before you ask your question, Brandon. A lot of people, especially on the Eagles side, have been saying, whether it be Zaven Collins, Jabril Cox, Trey Lance, a lot of these small school guys, they're like, oh, but he plays here. It's 2020. It's 2021, excuse me.
Yeah,
if you have talent, the NFL will find you. These guys have talent. And like you said, I think that's a perfect way of putting it. You judge the player, not the jersey. So I definitely agree with you, but go ahead, Brandon.
No, and then right before your pick, is there anything that the Washington football team could do in this draft that could just boil your blood, where you'll be so mad if they did something during this draft?
Getting Mac Jones would definitely piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big Mac Jones fan. I think he's a good player. I guess he's kind of gives you I'm so bad. I'm just talking reckless on this podcast, but he kind of reminds me of like a fat Eli Manning. He's kind of like he's just like he doesn't have a lot of mobility. He's accurate. People like him though. If you actually look at like analytics, they love him. Like he has great like I think like he's one of the best passers under pressure, and with like the the amount of like time to get hit, he just throws the ball very well. I wouldn't be happy with Mac Jones. Getting like another guard or a tackle would be kind of disappointing. I mean, we just paid $18 million for with Brendan Sheriff. I'm not too. I mean, he's a building block guy. He's a good team guy, so I guess I don't mind overpaying. But I want to go offense. I'd like to go there. Maybe if we got another cornerback, I wouldn't be too happy with that either. But I'd like to go offense.
I love that question. That's probably my favorite.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's tricky.
Because you hear everything. You know what I'm saying? Mac Jones, I think, is coming to the play like
he's definitely been brought up the most for most
people. for anger, like people are mad at him.
Mac Jones. I mean, Mac Jones was connected to the Eagles for a little while. You see a bunch of different weird mock drafts. I would be pissed if we got a quarterback in general.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go into Mac Jones because I would go crazy. But
dude, I actually like, just for you guys to kind of hook it up a little bit, I think you guys are in a prime spot at number 6. So you guys are number 6 overall, right? Yeah. That's right in front of the Lions, which is 7. So, dude, people are going to be knocking on your door to trade. I think you guys are going to walk away with a ransom, dude. My prediction, I put it on Twitter, people are freaking out. They're like, dude, you might walk away with 2 first-round picks from 6 and trade back. Like, I don't know if you guys are hearing that at all. Some people want to get ahead of the Panthers, want to get ahead of the Lions, basically get that quarterback. If one falls, you guys are in a prime spot, and we are boxed out as Washington. You guys aren't going to give us those picks. So, I mean, it's tough. So, exactly. So, it's tough. So, we'll see how that goes. So, I hope that doesn't happen for y'all.
Yeah, the best spot for us would probably be that 9 spot. Like, we've done a video about this, like going over trade scenarios, and I think the 9 spot would be absolutely like perfect for us because you still get a nice little haul, but you're still in front of Giants and the Cowboys, so you're not giving up too much in the process. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with I don't really trust our GM, but hey, on paper I love the idea of trading back. So let's get to the pick. Let's get to what the people want. At number 19, who do you have the Washington football team choosing and why?
So basically, I kind of had it down to 3. Like I was walking in, confidently going to get Zaven Collins. Ding, 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 the NFL popped up. He got drafted to 18. So got taken away from me. So after react, right? So I have 3 on my board. I have Trevon Moehrig from TCU as a safety. I was interested in that one. I was looking at Jeremiah Owusu-Koroma joke, for the hybrid linebacker safety for Notre Dame. But I think I'm going to walk away. The card is in. Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. I'm going to add that boundary wide receiver. That's what I was going to do. And I just think that, like, I've been reading good things about him. And I'm like, you know what? He's projected as wide receiver 4, but that's because the wide receiving class is so stacked, dude. Right. Waddle's awesome. Like, I think Waddle is my favorite. Jamar Chase is, he's on his own tier, but I think Waddle's awesome. Smith is great. Bateman's kind of getting, like, falling back a little bit. But he is like a good all-around wide receiver. He plays on the boundary, 3-year starter at Minnesota. People like Bucky Brooks kind of said he gives him that Mike Thomas vibe. Like he's not necessarily a burner, but he's like a big body guy, and he's savvy, and he's kind of a smooth route runner. And I think a lot of those concerns went away when he ran a 4.4 at the kind of like an Exos combine recently. So he's checking the boxes. So I'm kind of projecting. I'm like, if we get if we get Curtis Samuel, who's kind of like a weapon, like almost like a slot guy, in the backfield kind of guy, if we get Bateman on the outside, we're cooking. It's like Bateman, boundary wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, boundary wide receiver, Curtis Samuel as a slot guy, Antonio Gibson. With our defense, we're in it, dude. I'm kind of happy with that. So that's kind of what I'm going for.
That would be scary. That would be scary. and the way that you said it is perfectly works out because you have different spots. Yeah. And I love Rashad Bateman. I wish that we were going into the second round just because I want you guys to take that scary Terry. What's his name? Terrence Marshall, whatever his name is. There's another scary Terry in this draft. So that would be funny. But I think that's a great pick. What do you think, Brandon?
No, I agree. I mean, the way you broke it down, it makes sense. Like you said, your offense does need more firepower. I hope you don't get him. I hope you guys don't get firepower. But if we're thinking about this and not being rivals in the moment, yes, Washington does need more firepower on offense. Scary Terry, he's legit. Mm-hmm. You just need to pair him with somebody else, and that would be a great pick right there at 19.
And guys, give it up a little bit to McLaurin. I don't know if you guys how you guys feel about him, but dude, he's played with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Case Keenum. He's been given trash quarterbacks and still produce. There's wide receivers that are QB proof. I think DeAndre Hopkins is definitely one, and I think Terry McLaurin is starting to become one too. You got to give it to him. He's a technician. I like him a lot. He's a great player. So
yeah,
we got to pair him up. We got to help him out a little bit.
I'm getting really tired of seeing all these Ohio State players coming into that. I'm a Penn State fan, so
okay.
I'm kind of tired of it. But no, that's a great. I love the pick. Rashad Bateman at number 19. I love it. I think that could really definitely help you guys out. But George, thank you so much for coming through, man. Just chopping it up about some football, man. And even though you're on enemy sides, maybe we can do this again closer to the season and definitely
100%, man. Let's keep in touch on Twitter, man. I had a good time. And I think it's always nice to have insight from different teams. So hit me up on Twitter. Let's be friends and we talk about it. I'll definitely come on again. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So, hey, man, this was a lot of fun. So number 19, we're going on to number 20. We're almost done. Didn't even think we were going to get halfway done. We're almost done. I can't believe it. But I appreciate everybody that, tuned in, all the members that have early access. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is still Fly Eagles Fly. We are out here. Peace.
Bye, guys. See you.
Everywhere. This is for you. Fly Eagles Fly. Touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling with Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.